adventurers, it's Rachel and welcome back to Looking for Adventure Art, and today we have a really great video. This is how to fill a fountain pen from bottled ink and from some ink samples. Ink samples are a great way to start out testing out a lot of different inks if you're a beginner, but it can be a little tricky, so I'm going to show you a few different ways. But before we get started, if you happen to be new here, think about hitting that subscribe button down below, and I'm not going to waste any time, so let's just jump right in and let's get started. So today I have all my fountain pens out, but I am only going to be filling these two, so I'm going to put the other ones away. They are already filled and ready to go. And I am going to show you how to fill one of them using an ink sample. And to make it even a little bit trickier, this has already been partially filled, so there is less ink than what would even normally come in an ink sample. Normally you get 2 milliliters in the Goulet ink samples, and I absolutely love them. I get to test out so many different inks with them. I think that they are wonderful. And then I am also going to show you how to fill from a regular bottle, which is a lot easier. So I'm going to start out with the easy option, and I am going to show you how to fill from a bottle. Now, I personally really enjoy these noodler bottles because they are long and tall, and they have a nice big wide opening, which makes it especially easy for filling a fountain pen. Not all fountain pen ink bottles are this friendly. They can be a little bit of a pain in the butt, but you are going to be able to use the second method that I show you in filling an ink sample for some of those more difficult ink bottles as well. So to get started, you're going to uncap your pen, and you're going to remove the body of your pen by just unscrewing it. I already have my cartridge converter in here, but if you do not have a cartridge converter in there yet, you should put one in. This is the Lamy cartridge converter, and I just pop that in right away, and I can hear it snap. And then I'm going to take this piston piece. You can just twist the back, and you can see that piston mechanism moving up and down. I'm going to twist it all the way to the bottom of the pen, so it is ready to start sucking up ink. I am then going to unscrew my bottle of ink, and today I am going to be using Noodler's Black Swan and Australian Roses because, as I'm sure most of you know by now, it is my all-time favorite ink so far, and it matches my purple Lamy All-Star perfectly, so it's kind of the ink that just stays in this pen permanently. Now, before I dip my pen into my ink, one thing that I do want to mention is back here, and I'm sure that you probably can't see it on camera, so I apologize for that, but there is a little hole right back here on the feed that goes right up to the grip section. This is known as the breather hole. Now, this is also important in the video that is going to come up next week, which is how to clean your fountain pen. The way that you clean your fountain pen by dipping this in is the same way that you fill your fountain pen. You need to make sure that this breather hole is fully submerged, or else it is not going to suck up ink and it is only going to suck up air. So you're going to want to submerge your pen straight down until that breather hole is covered. I like to go just onto the grip section, and I'm going to put that all the way down. And now I'm going to lean this slightly. You don't have to lean this normally when filling, but to try and get this on the camera up ahead, I'm going to lean this slightly, making sure that my breather hole is submerged. And I'm going to very slowly do about 1.5 rotations and wait a second. I'm then going to suck up a little more ink and do about 1.5 rotations again and wait a second. Now, waiting a little bit, which I tend to be impatient and not always do this, helps to make sure that there are no air bubbles. You want to get as full of fill as possible and not a lot of air. I'm going to suck this up again, wait a second, continue to turn, wait a second, continue to turn, continue to turn, continue to turn, and that is all the way up. So now I am seeing some air bubbles in here a little bit and one at the top. Now, good practice, which a lot of times most people don't do, is to then expel this and go one more time. It seems to just get a cleaner fill than if you do it on the first time. So that is what I'm going to do for you today. So I'm then going to expel this ink, keeping the nib fully submerged. And then I'm going to refill the same way, slowly turning and waiting a little bit in between. Now it does take a little patience, but I honestly find that this works really well. You don't have to rest your fingers on the edge of the bottle. I know a lot of times they get inky. I don't mind if my fingers get inky, so I do it anyways. But there is my full fill. You can see that it's basically all the way to the top, and I've only got a few little air bubbles in there, but I've got a really pretty good fill. So I'm going to wipe off the excess on the side of the bottle. And now, to help get those few little air bubbles out, they say that you want to then just do 3 drops of ink back into the jar. So you're going to actually want to turn it the opposite way and just get 1, 2, 3. And sometimes if you even want, you can then resubmerge and pull that back up. I don't tend to do the 3 drops of ink, but it is good habit to do so. And as you can see, I accidentally put my fingers too much on the rim and I got very inky. So I'm going to bring over my paper towel after I close this bottle of ink. And I'm going to, try and wipe off my fingers. My fingers will get stained, but that is okay. So if you ever see weird colors on my hands in tutorials, that's why. And I am just going to very carefully wipe off my grip section and then the top of my nib that is covered in ink. And that is it. You are good to go. You can then just screw on the body of the pen. And I really love that the Lamy All-Star has this little ink window so I can tell how low my ink is getting and when I am going to need to refill it. Now for the little bit more tricky option, which is filling from these sample bottles, which I really love. You are going to pop your cap off and you're going to unscrew the body again. I also have a cartridge converter already in here, and I'm going to make sure that that piston is all the way down to the bottom. Now I know that my breather hole is again on the back side of my feed, all the way at the top near the grip section. And so the key to filling these bottles is you gotta have a little bit of hand-eye coordination. And when you lean it, you want to make sure that that breather hole is fully submerged. That is the most important thing. Even if the top of your nib is not fully submerged in the ink, as long as that breather hole is fully submerged, you will get a good fill. Now I have my little ink sample bottle here, and I've got my piston all the way to the bottom, and I'm just going to put this in. And I'm going to start to tilt this, making sure that the ink is covering that breather hole completely. Now this is where it gets tricky. I like to hold the bottle with my 2 fingers, my thumb and my ring finger, and then I like to also sort of slide up my thumb and with my middle finger hold this in place. So I can hold this and this hand is free to turn the piston mechanism up here. So I've got this on a diagonal, which I know is very difficult to tell, but I have it slanted this way. And you don't want to slant it too much and have ink spot all over your desk because that would be very bad. But as long as that breather hole is fully submerged and you've got a good steady grip on this, you can start to slowly turn and fill your pen. Same way, 1 slow turn at a time, and it will slowly start to draw ink up. Now I got a pretty good fill there. It's not bad, but it's not amazing. And I can expel this and do this again and tilt the bottle a little bit more, but I'm going to show you the easier option. So I'm just going to expel this ink back, and I'm going to show you the easy way to do it. So the easy way to do this is to take your cartridge converter and put the piston all the way to the back, like if you had filled up all the ink completely. Now, in the Goulet pen cleaning kit, it comes with 2 blunt nosed syringes, and these are so helpful in not only cleaning your pen but filling your pen. So you can also purchase these separately, but I highly recommend doing the Goulet pen cleaning kit. It is very handy, and I will talk more about that in the pen cleaning video next week. But I have just taken the little syringe end here. It was hiding in the back of this, and I just screwed it on. It's blunt, you're not gonna hurt yourself. And I've got this all the way back. I'm gonna push this down, and I'm gonna stick the blunt nose in this, and I'm gonna suck up the ink. Now you can suck up all the ink, though I know that I'm not going to need all this ink, so I will end up putting some of it back. You're gonna take your cartridge converter and you're gonna hold it in one hand, and you're gonna stick the end of the syringe in the other. You don't need to go all the way down to the bottom. You can leave some room, just don't have it too close to the top. And when I say do this slowly because I have overfilled this and it has been very exciting and a huge mess. But you're just going to slowly start to fill this a little bit at a time. And you don't want to overfill this whatsoever. But I'm just dropping in little bits as we go. Oh goodness. This is what I mean by getting messy. And now I've got it all over my fingers. You can drop in a few more drops here. And that is a nice full fill. So I'm just going to put the rest of this back into the bottle. And then I'm going to clean my syringe and my finger off a little bit. And now that you have your cartridge converter, you're not going to want to flip this over onto your pen, or else ink is going to start to come out. So all you're going to do is you're going to take this, you're going to pop it onto your grip section with your nib and make sure that it's on there nice and secure. And now it is ready for writing. You have a nice full fill. It was super easy. I got a little messy. I did exactly what I told you not to do, which was overfill the cartridge converter. But that is the easiest way to get your ink out of your bottles. I can then just screw the body of the pen back on and put the cap back on, and I am ready to write whenever I want. This is also a great method for getting out the last little bit in your sample bottles that a lot of times your pens will not reach. You also can use the syringe if you want to convert your pen into an eyedropper pen. Just make sure that it is not a metal pen because it will not react well. But it is really fun to use eyedropper pens, especially for clear pens, which are also known as demonstrator pens. You get to wash all the really cool ink slosh around, and it is a lot of fun. So now that I am sufficiently inky and that my pens are all nice and inked up and ready to write, that is it for this video today. I hope that you enjoyed it. But before we go, I do have one last question for you, and that is our question of the day. My question of the day for all of you is, do you prefer bottled inks or ink samples? I know that some people love to just test out all different colors of inks and that they don't really want to commit to one giant bottle, and some people just love bottles. So I'd love to hear if you prefer bottled inks or ink samples in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for all the daily updates. And if you happen to be following along with the calligraphy series, or if you happen to make anything on my channel, feel free to email me or tag me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever kind of social media-ness that you guys do, because I want to see it. And don't forget, every day is a new adventure, so come back next time for a new adventure with us.